Hey, you ever been to Chancellor Park? That's where I live. My name is Tavin Dillard, and I live in a trailer park called Chancellor Park, and I mow lawns. I'd like to introduce you to my town. I've been making YouTube's videos since about 2006, and then I've transitioned over to other platforms like the TikToks and the whatnot. But here on this podcast, I'd like to clue you into what's going on with me here lately. And this is like the pre-introduction. Now I'm going to send it off to myself for the real introduction. I'm glad you joined me. Bink, bink. Do. Welcome to the Tavin Dillard podcast, y'all guys. Season 2, episode 1. My name, is Tavin Dillard. And this here, this the podcast. And you can probably see from there how I got the name for the podcast, the Tavin Dillard podcast. I mow lawns. I live in Chancellor Park. And like I said, the podcast, what I'm doing here, it's kind of like a radio show. It's for the ears. It's for you to listen to kind of thing. Well, first season of my podcast is in the books, as they say. That's just a figure of speech. As far as I know, my podcast ain't really in a book. I guess that's an idea, though. But really, that's just me thinking out loud. I don't know. Now, season 1 was me walking y'all through the softball season. And I'll tell you now that I'm happy with how it turned out. It's a great season. Pick yourself up a Team Burger Shed 2021 shirt if you want to. Do we discontinue those? That's what I'm wondering now that we're in 2022. I don't know how that works. My email address is in the show notes, so you can shoot me an email if you got a thought on that. Like, we stop with them 10 burger sheds, like once they sold out, let's be done with that? I don't know, I guess we do. But anyways, holler at me. I'm just asking for your advice on that. My phone number's there too, or you can text me if that's easier than shooting me an email, but I'll put that in the show notes. I do think I need to scale back, Looking back at 2021, I may have flooded the t-shirt market like that away. So pick you up a Team Burger Shed 2021 shirt if you want to get one. And welcome to Season 2. What can I expect here, Tavin, in your podcast? Well, got some news this week that they're going to do a winter softball season for the adult league. I think it's going to be shorter than a normal season, but I may be wrong. I just do know it starts soon. As far as I know, as far as I can remember back, they ain't done one of these before, so I don't know. But anyways, I do know they starting it, and it's starting soon. Now, I said season 1, the podcast was about softball season, but that ain't what it was all about. If you heard the podcast and listened to the words I said in that, and you were tuning in, weekly to them Tuesdays episodes, that there's more going on in town than just me playing softball. That's for sure. Lots of stuff going on, and there's going to be more of that this year. I'm sure town keeps moving, and folks keep doing stuff. So first things first, y'all, I already have news about the concession stands at the softball fields this winter season. Now, I know what you're thinking. Did it burn down again? Did y'all have to repaint it? Did Mary Beth Tucker do something, that's got to get fixed by the city and, she in trouble? No, but we do have a pretty new concession stand. It's a good one, too, but it's a new one, painted light blue. Last season, Mary Beth Tucker, she was the one working the stand. And where there's all kind of trouble, when she's in there. Probably that fire that burned the other one to the ground was the worst of it, before we got this new one. But there was all kind of things that Mary Beth Tucker brought that kind of distracted folks. And she's bringing them like to be helpful or to be a good concession stand gal. She was dating Myron Curtis, and so his head was in the clouds, and he's on my team. And so, if you on a sports team or something, or you in a group at work or whatever, and you got somebody that, they ain't focused on the job at hand, boy, that can really burn you up. You know what I mean? It can really start eating at you. So we had that going on with Myron. We had Mary Beth over there at the concession stand, and multiple times. I don't know the number for sure. I guess I can count on my hands. Hold on here. 1, 2, 4. I don't know, actually. I'm going to lose count trying to figure that out. But multiple times, Myron was not there mentally, kind of thing. Not focused, I guess is the way we say it. So then she brought a horse to the field, Mary Beth did, and it got loose. So that happened too. Now, I ain't going to recap Mary Beth's highlights or lowlights of the season, but I will say for this winter season, there are new folks in charge of the concession stand on Thursday nights. Mary Beth's schedule changed, is what it was. She's helping put some fencing up on her daddy's property along with her regular job at the veterinary. So, her brother's Russell Tucker, so I guess her and Russell are going to help, but Russell ain't going to be helping on Thursday nights with no fence because he's on my team. He's on Team Burger Shed kind of thing. So I don't know how he's going to be there, but she's going to be helping with that maybe during the days and be back at the veterinary Thursday nights. I don't know, but she can't be because of her schedule in the concession stand. So where does that leave us, you say? You asking me right now. So Tavin, who's in the concession stand this winter adult softball season? First, Cheryl Grubbs. She's going to be there on some nights. Which nights? I don't know. I mean, I know Thursday nights, but she ain't going to be there every Thursday night. She's married to Shane, who I'm going to talk about in a little while, Shane Grubbs. And Cheryl's smart. She don't always make the smartest decisions, but who does, right? And the other helper in the concession stand is, wait for it, Cricket. Bink, bink. Now, Cricket's a gal I've been kind of hanging out with. We growed up together but lost touch for a number of years, and her daddy has a farm. She delivers produce but don't even live in our county. But she's been working more in our town, and Thursday she's already in town working at the nursing home. So she's going to stick around and help out at the fields some Thursday nights. Now, I don't know when, but it's basically like if Cricket's there one Thursday night, then Cheryl Grubbs ain't going to be in the concession stand. If Cheryl Grubbs in the concession stand one Thursday night, then Cricket ain't going to be in the concession stand. How that work like that away. So that's how that go. Now, I'll be the first to say that I was mad at Myron Curtis for being so distracted because he was sweet on the gal working the concession stand. And here I am, very well aware that I like the gal in the concession stand this upcoming season. Cricket, not Shane Grubbs' wife, Cheryl. But Cricket won't be there every night, just some nights. So to say that's making a little bit of noise in my head would be true. I'm excited to see her, but I also know I got to be steady focused when it's game time. I don't want to compromise the team's season, because my head's somewhere else. So, that's making a little bit of, I got to get right between the ears, before season starts. So what team am I on this season? I think I gave it away when I mentioned Russell Tucker a second ago. And what's that going to look like? What's this team going to look like? Is this the same team as the fall, Tavin? Inquiring minds want to know kind of thing. Well, we had a team meeting the other day with, last year's Bud's Burger Shed team, and there's two guys who will not be returning to the team for the winter season. Now, this ain't too surprising in the sense that, this is a winter league. Winter league ain't never happened as far as I can remember. This ain't the main spring team. Now, maybe these guys will be back in the spring. I don't know, but Cody Briggs ain't coming back. That's Ricky Briggs' brother. Ricky Briggs drives a trash truck in town. And then Brody Childress. Now, Cody's going to firefighter school. He's busy. Also, winter ball just wasn't on his radar, And Brody was barely into last season, if you remember. He'd show up late or not at all. And he'd drive his sister-in-law's Dodge Neon out past the outfield fence underneath the parking lot and try to take pictures of it kind of thing. He just had other things going on. Come late in a Suzuki Sidekick because one of his toddler's shoes fell out the hole in the floorboard and they had to drive back somewhere to find it on the road. So he called it this upcoming season, said I ain't going to be there. So how have we replaced these losses is the question at hand. You may be asking it. I know we was all asking it as a team because we got to make sure we got everybody there. We a 9-player team, which means we ain't got no substitutes. So that's it. That you can't, if somebody's out, then you down a player. Well, we adding Shane Grubbs, Cheryl's husband, and Cody Mantell. I know you thinking, oh brother, Cody's nothing but trouble. And to say Cody's a wild card is a monumental understatement. You think Brody Childress was just like, oh, is he going to be here? Is he not going to be here? Well, it's going to be more like, is Cody going to get in a fight? Is he going to light something on fire? You don't even got to worry about Marybeth Tucker. You got to worry about what in the world is Cody Mantell going to do? He got out of jail this past summer. He's mean. You never know what he's going to do, but he can play softball. And I will say, less of us is scared of him now. It just got to the point where folks, if you're going to tolerate a guy live in town with him, sometimes you got to push back a little bit and say, Cody, we ain't going to do that right now kind of thing. So we started giving it back to him. That seemed to mellow him out like a little bit, but I will say I ain't going to be surprised if I'm breaking up a fight on the fields or in the parking lot this season, after the game or something. I ain't trying to. I ain't looking forward to it, but we know what we're dealing with here. And that's going to be that. So we got our team together. Then Mort suggested practices. We laughed. And that idea died before it left his mouth. This is adult softball. We ain't got time for practice. We talking about practice? Practice? Come on, Mort. Talking about practice. Psh. So the season ain't started, but that's who we are. Team Burger Shed. So we in good shape for the most part. We got our uniforms already. Cody going to have to get one. Shane's going to have to get one. I don't know if Bud's going to give them any kind of discount. Didn't give us no discount. We had to buy them from him, last season. Myron Curtis, Mort Dwydell, J.T. Whitlow, Tavin Dillard, Rance Barnhart, Rusty Tidwell, Shane Grubbs, Cody Mantell, and Russell Tucker. Winner roster. There you go. So I ain't got a game to talk about yet. We ain't played yet. We just barely figuring out who's on the team kind of thing. That's going to be next week when we start playing. And we got our winter bodies, so, game one going to be a wash. But the other game's going to be in the same, other team's going to be in the same boat. Gravy boat, if you know what I mean. It's just steady snacking. I mean, we full of we running on peanut brittle and fruitcake right now. So that's how that is. So anyhow, Maggie's Flowers, they's having a food drive this week in town. The only game in town, so to speak. I kind of liked it. It was at a flower shop, not at Rickard's grocery store. Anytime somebody's standing in front of a grocery store selling candy bars, I'm like, turn around. There's a whole store full of candy for like 80 cents, not these $2 bars you selling with them almonds in it that I don't even want. Same with them canned food drives in front of grocery stores. I'm like, turn around. There's a store full of canned goods. Looky there. You ain't got to be out here all day behind this table looking like you need all kind of help. It's like you panning for little flakes of gold and you just turn around and you'd see a pile of gold behind you kind of thing. Well, anyhow, Maggie's was doing this food drive in town, and Maggie's was offering coupons for folks that gave to the food drive. Like they get a discount on her flower shop. They're going to buy like an arrangement or a bouquet of flowers or something like that. Anyway, you could kind of, if you're going to do a flower order, might as well give a can and get a discount. That was the hope, at least. Well, Cindy Mydell showed up to this food drive, and all she brought was a sugar daddy. You know them candies that is on a stick, caramel candies. It's the same thing I seen Delma Spencer's husky toddler gnawing on in a shopping cart down at Rickard's grocery store. I mean, he was putting a hurting on that thing. Delma treats the store like a sample buffet for her kiddos. And she's like, well, he's starving, Tavin. And I looked at that baby and I said, he ain't starving, Delma. I mean, he's got stuck in a shopping cart before and they had to put butter on his thighs to get him out. I guess they let Delma keep that stick of butter. I don't know how that worked, but I'd imagine they would. Who else would want it kind of thing. But you can't say that kid's starving, I was saying, especially if you're feeding him a sugar daddy. You in a grocery store, you can't tell me that early pioneers were out on the trail and they realized that they needed sustenance to survive and said, quickly, Monroe, let's start a fire and heat butter and sugar in a pan. Stir it consistently, and then we will dip sticks into a said concoction and wait for it to harden on the stick so we can eat it, so we don't starve. Didn't happen. Now, I ain't no starvologist, nothing like that, but just eyeballing that toddler tells me he ain't starving at all. Well, Maggie's Flowers is having that food drive. Cindy Mydell has brought in a sugar daddy. If you recognize her name, it might be because I busted her at a rollback sale when I was working undercover volunteer police a while back. Cindy went in there with them big old black cataract glasses on, that kind of take up most of your face, like folks, old folks that get them eye procedures done, and she's acting blind. She had on them big old glasses and she's acting blind, but she ain't even blind. And she got a seeing eye dog, except it ain't no seeing eye dog. So she going in there not blind, and she's claiming she got a seeing eye dog that ain't a seeing eye dog. It ain't got the credentials. It was a retired firehouse dog that lost an eye in a fight with a squirrel. And she got saddlebags on that thing like a pack mule heading over to Himalayas, and she's planning on filling them bags with all kind of stuff. How do you know, Tavin? You can't accuse Cindy Mydell of stealing just because she bring a dog in and cataract glasses with saddlebags on that doggy kind of thing. Well, I'm telling you right now because I'm on the other side of it now, and I know the story, and that's exactly what she did. I mean, she dropped a 2-liter bottle of diet root beer into them saddlebags and didn't stop there. A bag of hot fries, ketchup, family size, pleated khaki pants, men's work boots, Justin Bieber poster, a can of Raid, NASCAR keychain, medium-sized cantaloupe, and a Kenny Loggins CD. But she barely made it past the gumball machines before I busted her because she had to leave the store before it was officially stoled. Otherwise, she just still shopping, and she brought her own bags, brought her own cart too. She basically had that dog doing, carrying everything for her. So Cindy don't have a reputation for being on the up and up. And I definitely didn't forget that day. And any time I see her out in public, around goods that need to be bought or left alone, I got my eyes on her. Both my eyes. Not one firehouse retired one-eyed dog eye, but every eye I got. So anyways, case in point, she brought a sugar daddy to a food drive at Maggie's Flowers, trying to exchange it for a coupon on a flower order. Oh, that ain't much food for sure, Tavin, but she did bring a wrapped item. That's probably what you're thinking. Like, Tavin, she brought something. She should get some sort of reward for trying to help with this canned food drive. Well, first off, it was a canned food drive. Sugar daddies ain't canned. And B, it was not wrapped. It was not. It was unwrapped with teeth marks in it. That's right. You heard me. So Cindy Mydell got home with a sugar daddy, I guess, from the store. She unwrapped that thing. She put that thing in her mouth, bit down on it, got teeth marks all over it, then decided she wanted to exchange it for a flower coupon down at Maggie's Flowers canned food drive. So you can see how Cindy wasn't about to get no flower coupon with a stunt like that. I really don't know what goes through her mind. I don't know why she needed a bouquet or a flower coupon anyway. I guess she's one of them folks that if she can get a coupon and she just got to do something, kind of easy, she just have it just so she have it. But I do know it made sense to her. You know why? Because that's true for everybody. We all do what makes sense to us, and that's how that works. I guess the canned food drive was a success overall. I mean, Maggie got cans. Not sure what her plan was, after that. I don't know if she's just going to build a pyramid in or put them on the shelves or, give them to somebody. But there is something about somebody handing somebody else a can that makes them feel better. I know that. I like jars. Some of the best things in the world come in jars. Peanut butter, you know about that. Jelly. They got jars that put peanut butter and jelly together. I mean, if you just don't want to take the time, they got you taken care of. I guess you don't mess up 2 spoons or 2 knives. Now, I don't know. Are you a spoon person? Do you spoon out the peanut butter and jelly, or do you knife it out? Because I guess the thought is if you knife it out, then you use that same knife to spread it, and that's not bad. But if you spoon it out, you could spread pretty good with a spoon too. So it's just, I don't know. I actually go back and forth. I think it's whichever one I grab first. Typically don't use a fork though. But anyhow, other than peanut butter and other than jelly, you can put preserves, in a jar, vegetables. Pig's feet, now I don't eat them. I've seen plenty of them, and I know folks like them, but it's foot, y'all, and it looked like a foot. Put a sock on it. Let's be honest. I mean, I'll eat a foot-long coney dog down at the Sonic, but that ain't a foot. It's a foot long. I don't mind the word, see? It ain't the word that's getting me. I mind the foot. But most of the stuff that comes in jars, I do like. Just like all them things I just mentioned, But Sonic, that don't sound like a bad idea neither. I got to keep working on that winter body now that we're on the threshold of winter softball season. I could go for a foot long. I could go for a cherry Dr. Pepper. I could go for a little both. And even though it's cold time of year, I like the cold things. And I mentioned this before. I like a cold drink on a cold day, but I also like a milkshake. Or whatever them things are, the blast they got down at the Sonic, I could do that too. I got to stop talking about the Sonic though. It ain't like they're sponsoring my episodes. I'm just thinking out loud where I may head in a minute. So the roster's set though for Team Burger Shed. It's time to get our heads right, and our bodies will follow somewhere around game 4 or 5 or 7. It just depends. Different folks, it takes a little bit longer to get back, to that playing body, to that playing shape where we hitting the ball and catching the ball and throwing the ball. And, we got to learn our new teammates. Got Shane Grubbs and Cody Mantell to work into the roster and into the mix. Team Burger Shed that finished third, really, if you do the math. We was the 3rd best team in the league last year because we was 1 game from the championships, and we got knocked out by Brunwell Tires, and then Brunwell Tires played in the championship game. So that's how that went. But here we are. We starting season 2, and you here with me. I appreciate you hanging with me because I didn't know after season 1 if I was going to do another one, and looks like we got a season 2 at least ahead of us. And this is a Tavin Dillard podcast. So again, if you ain't rated the podcast yet on like Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen, if you could give it a rating, that's big help. That's like paying me. It's like if you like a podcast, you can say, here's a rating. And that helps me and helps other folks know that this is worth listening to, taking the time to listen to. I appreciate it. And I'll leave a couple links in the show notes. One's going to be from my merch, the hats and the shirts. We got hoodies, because it's still cold all kinds of places this time of year and all that. So you can check them out. The Bink hats are back in stock. They came back in right before Christmas. They've been out for months, I feel like. And then got a new butter hat that's available. And then obviously the Burger Shed hat. And then also you'll see a link in the show notes for phone number where you can text me. That's 501-322-6249 if you're good at memorizing numbers while you on a jog or on a walk or at the grocery stores or wherever you are standing in line or out and about listening. But you can just click on the link in my show notes and you text me that way. It may be easier. So that's where we at. We on the threshold of a new year, on the threshold of a new softball season. I'm here, you're here. It's going to be a hoot. Thanks for joining me. I sure appreciate it. Make sure your candy's wrapped and ain't got teeth marks in it unless it's your own. Until next time, we'll see you later.